Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Phoebe Ross. I'm an aspiring young adult contemporary author on the traditional publishing path, and it is Preptober. It is the October in which we prep. If you're not familiar, November is NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, and just about every author you know is probably gearing up right now, using this time in October to get our heads straight, get our stories lined up. And whether you're a plotter or a pantser, this time is gold. Now, I have this really weird, I am a plotter, I'm a planner, I'm an outliner, I'm an architect. I like to know the whole puzzle before I start putting pieces down. However, I was having a little trouble with my outline. And I was like, you know what? You can't pants your way through it, Phoebes. There was this gut feeling to pants, but that's not me. I had to take a step back and remember what I got a list. I have a process. So I am reminding myself and sharing with you guys the 8 things, the 8 must-have elements before you start drafting, asterisk, if you are a plotter. So here's my list. Number 1. Beats and outline. That is my number 1. That is the biggest, most important factor that I have to have before I start writing the first sentence. For me, outlining can look very different for a lot of people, but for me, I keep it really simple. I prefer the Save the Cat beats. In fact, I think that's on the shelf somewhere. Yeah, Save the Cat. I like the Save the Cat beats a whole lot. Whether or not my story sticks to them the whole time, well, it's iffy, but I start with the Save the Cat beats. And truly, as long as I've got a bullet point, a couple sentences, sometimes it's just one word, fight. As long as I've got something assigned for each of those main story beats, I feel equipped to write my way through the dark, if that makes sense. Now, I know a lot of people do outline differently, so do you. Some folks like to do a chapter by chapter breakdown. Some folks do scene by scene. If you prefer to write like who's in the chapter, what's the purpose of the chapter, how it moves the story along, what's the mood, what's the designated song, so you can go to YouTube or Spotify or whatever and get your vibes for the scene. Outline as deep as you need to. Me, I like to keep it simple. And somehow that still trips me up so much during the brainstorming that yes, that is number 1. Outline, make your beats, whatever works for you. That's where you like to make sure you have your bases covered. Number 2 is character profiles. I recommend / I prefer to make sure my main characters, love interest, my bad guy, the best friend, whoever your character is, I give each of them a character profile. Some of them are more in-depth than others. I try to make sure that I hit, their wants, their fears, their motivations. Definitely, if you have a hard time with this, there are a million resources out there. Everybody's got a template for you. Everybody's got a video for you. Check them out. I try to get a character profile for all my people. That way I kind of get a sense of who they are before I start writing. If I can. They're gonna change. Don't worry about it. Number 3 is world building, and it does not matter what genre it doesn't matter what genre you write. Take the time to do a little world building. You never know what research or layout, it's gonna help your story in the end. For instance, it has helped me greatly to know exactly how far away in my contemporary world, in my contemporary high school, how far away chemistry class is from gym. How many Mean Girls lockers are in between. How many bathrooms you have to duck into when the cute boy comes down the hall. Do you know what I'm saying? Like who sits where in the cafeteria? It doesn't matter what genre you're writing, take that time. You're gonna be so thankful that you did. And it also helps, just like you wanna know the magic, the breakdown of how the magic works and how the dynamics work between different elements. I even like government and politics are kind of a big deal in my story. And it really helps to flesh out like, who's the mayor? How much power do they have? Who's the king or queen? Who's the puppet master in your haunted house? Understanding kind of the dynamics and the power that kind of make up your world. Highly recommended. Number 4 is getting together an aesthetic board. However you like to do aesthetic boards. I am a huge fan. I will get on Pinterest and I will get on Instagram and I will pin quotes and, backgrounds and layouts, like patterns. I usually like to cast like a human being who has an Instagram who updates fairly regularly. For instance, my main character in the first story is Colette Bradley. And for me, I've got Bailey Madison, who is just Colette in my head. Like anytime I see Bailey Madison in anything, it's Colette. I love that. I also, in the same number 4 aesthetic board, get your aesthetic like playlist, like your vibes, like whether you have Spotify, I like YouTube music, whatever. I like to build a playlist out that gets me in the mood for the different chapters, or the different highs and lows of your story. Get your vibes. Number 5. This is kind of crucial to me, but not everybody does this because it is dreaded. It is the dreaded synopsis. A lot of people really hate the synopsis. It's a pain in the butt, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's basically, in my opinion, a very polished summarizes the outline. I don't know why that's so hard to say and hard to explain. I can't get my words out. But having a synopsis is so helpful that you don't have to start from scratch when it's time to start querying or start considering, if you already have an agent, like proposals and like optioning your stories. Also, if you are not traditionally publishing, I just really feel like you still want a synopsis, right? I don't know. I feel like independent authors, y'all want synopses too, right? They're super helpful. If you are also traditionally publishing, number 6, get yourself a query letter, because it's so motivating to write your pitch letter, your query letter, before you even get the ball rolling on your story. It's just such a kick of motivation. Even though they're hard and stupid, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just the starting point, because it's saying, dear person who's gonna make my dreams come true, here's why my dreams are worth fighting for. Here's the story. Here's why I'm gonna kick this story's ass, this NaNoWriMo. Thanks for your time. You're obviously gonna polish it by the time it's done. But don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to make it perfect. Just use it as a hype tool. I also really have appreciated having a logline, because I don't know about you all, but I want to ask all my AuthorTube friends what their nano project is. And do you know what they all say? Cool nickname here. I don't know, everybody's got like nicknames for their story to keep it like low key. But what is it about? If you already have your logline ready, you can already tell people. I don't have my logline ready because I haven't committed to my story yet, but I promise you'll hear it someday. It'll be great. And this is number 8, but it's very much like you don't need it. I want it. I want to go ahead and try to have my first 3 chapters really like 0 draft chapters roughed out, because if by God's graces I end up getting an agent tomorrow, I just know that having the elements of the proposal, everybody says once you sell your first book, the timer starts and there's never enough time in the whole world. And having just kickstarting that proposal element, even if you decide not to finish the story for NaNoWriMo, or even if you're not doing Nano, if this is August, if you're watching this in August, having those first 3 chapters kind of takes the pressure off. Yeah! So Phoebe, if you're watching this in a couple weeks and you're trying to give up on this organization, if you think you're gonna pants your way through NaNoWriMo, baby, that's not you. Okay? That's for other kids. You need to outline. You need to have your plan. You need to follow the procedure. You'll be so happy. Trust me, Phoebe. Trust me. Okay? definitely whatever you guys are doing for Preptober, or however you pre-draft, whatever you like to do, tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear about what your challenges are as you try to navigate which story to pursue. If you've picked out your nano project, definitely drop it below as well. I want to follow along, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.